this morning we are going very briefly that way, then we're going to go that way.
Yeah, we're in Castleford basin on the Aire and Calder Navigation, and we're at Castleford Lock is coming up, and it's very unusually shaped and rather large, which gave me a bit of a shock when we came through the other way in November. But I'm prepared for this unusualness today, and then we're going to be heading.
And thankfully, the rain has begun as well.
Oh, good. And then we're going to be heading that way towards
Leeds, yeah. Which is good. We're finally getting up that way.
Yep.
We're going to try and make it today, all the way to Leeds.
Yeah.
It's a long way.
And it's raining. Yay.
5 blocks, many miles, and now it's raining. So now we need to put on our rain gear because that was not in the forecast. Thank you, chicken guts.
Let's go.
All right.
George is not bothered by the rain, of course. He's raring to go. I decide to walk to the lock as it's only a few hundred metres away. I pass this old coal loading chute just in front of our mooring. I love seeing all these old remnants of industries past hinting at the history of the navigation. The cut at Castleford links Bullholme Lock and Castleford Lock and is less than half a mile long. There's lots of spaces for visiting boats, and there's a boatyard and sanitary station as well as many permanent moorings. As we approach the lock, we see that the gates are open, and remember that this is actually a flood lock and not in use today, so we can cruise straight through. When we came this way last November, the river was still in flood and the gates were closed. We were pretty shocked by the size of the lock then. Here we're inside the lock chamber itself, and it is huge. Michael picks me and George up at these convenient stairs. Unfortunately, no one has walked down them in a while, and there are fresh spider webs crisscrossing the passage. This is actually a 4-way junction. We're exiting the Castleford Cut, and behind us is Bullholme Lock. To the left, the River Aire passes a weir, and so that direction is unnavigable. The river rejoins the navigation below Bullholme Lock and continues back towards Ferry Bridge. Straight ahead is the River Calder, which leads to Wakefield, and we're turning right on the River Aire towards Leeds. It's always so sad to see boats like this. I wonder what its story is. I'm guessing it was moored here when the river went into flood. Here we're passing the village of Allerton Bywater. The village welcomes boaters and encourages visitors, which is so nice to see. The River Aire was first made navigable to Leeds in 1704. It enabled Leeds and Wakefield to be linked with York and the River Humber. Early cargo was mainly wool, but at its peak the navigation allowed for the transportation of 1.5 million tonnes of coal per year. Much of this was in Tom Pudding's, little tugboats that were linked together to form a train. The local open cast mines are long closed, and the land now forms wetlands and nature reserves. now approaching Lemonroyd Lock. After the riverbank near here collapsed in 1988, the navigation was rerouted slightly, and the old Lemonroyd Lock and Kippax Lock were combined and the new Lemonroyd Lock was built. The lock is over 13 feet deep, and when I open the sluices to empty it, a huge amount of water gets dumped into the approach channel. Michael has stayed way back, but he's still hit by the turbulence and so moves over to the landing to wait. This lock is huge. How small does Perseverance look down there? Improvements to the navigation were made over the years, and these locks can now accommodate for boats up to 200 feet long and 20 feet wide. Michael keeps the boat far back in the lock to avoid the turbulent water that's flooding in, and considering how huge this lock is, it fills reasonably fast. As we prepare to leave the lock, two boats pull off the moorings in front of us. One continues towards Leeds like us, and the other one makes the turn to come back into the lock that we've just left. Above the lock is Aqua Vista Marina. They offer leisure and residential moorings. There's also lots of visitor moorings here if you want to stop and explore. This lock isn't quite so deep, but it's just as long, so we can fit into it with the other boat. This is despite the fact that the boat we're sharing with is at least double our size, and what a lovely boat it is too. To be fair, we could easily squeeze a few more boats into the lock too. There are some visitor mooring spaces above the lock, and then it's just a mile or so to the next one. It's always nice to share locks with other boats, especially when they use this much water, and we fall into a rhythm. The crew on the other boat operate the downstream controls, and I operate the upstream controls. Considering it's July and we're hearing about how busy other navigations are, we're relieved to be somewhere so quiet. Still, it is nice to pass the occasional boat or two. Here we pass onto the M1 motorway bridge at Rothwell. Thwaites Mill would have been a great place to visit. It's a fully restored working water-powered mill which is now open as a museum, although not today as it's still shut due to the restrictions. It was originally built in 1823 to harness the power of the river, and considering how many old mills we pass, it would have been fascinating to see one in action. This is a relatively new weir and bridge, built to help prevent flooding in the area. It's apparently the UK's first ever movable weir. It can be raised and lowered to control the flow of water. Mostrop Lock is the last lock we're going to be able to share with Marjorie, and the crew suggest we go ahead of them to the next lock. This is the old freight terminal at Narrowboating Wharf, just east of Leeds. Finally, we're in the City of Leeds. There are some 3-day moorings and a sanitary station just below the lock. The moorings are full, and there's even a boat moored up on the lock landing, so Michael drops me off so I can get the lock open. The visitor moorings in Clarence Dock are full too, but Michael can't resist taking the boat in to have a look around. It's a real shame it's full, as it would have been a great place to stop. I'm not sure why they don't make the far basin available too. It's completely empty.
So this is the Leeds dock where we were hoping to moor for the night. That's the Royal Armouries behind me, and those are the visitor moorings that are chock full. So we're not going to be able to moor in there. Yeah, would be nice, but that boat's doubled up. There's a single boat there. We could, in theory, double up with them, but there's another place around the corner apparently, Granary Wharf. So we're gonna head over that way. Sadly, the Royal Armouries, which I have wanted to visit since I first heard of them, closed until further notice due to COVID, so I'm going to have to return to Leeds at some point to actually see them. Oh, at least there's a cannon. That's kind of fun. Okay, back out again.
We're pretty tired from the day, but it still feels pretty special to bring our boat through the centre of the city. Here we officially leave the Aire and Calder Navigation and join the Leeds and Liverpool Canal. 127 miles and 92 locks that way is Liverpool. We're only going as far as Wigan, which is a slightly more manageable 92 miles and 88 locks. And here is Lock 1, which will take us up to the moorings in Granary Wharf.
We're in Leeds.
Granary Wharf.
Yeah.
We didn't moor where we hoped for.
No, we were hoping for the Leeds Basin, but the Leeds Basin were chock full. So we got up here to Granary Wharf, where, due to some miscalculations, this lock took forever to fill up.
It's basically ground paddles, and I didn't see them because they're like posts in the ground with these big, like tap thing, turny
Like a
things,
crank.
like with a big screw that goes down, and I just didn't see them.
Yeah, so we just used the door paddles, which took a good long time.
Yeah.
And then when we got up,
Yeah, because I'd assessed all the moorings because we've heard it's going to be a little bit noisy in here because there are quite a few bars around. So I thought, just around the corner there's a nice, it's slightly quieter, potentially.
But simultaneously, if you look at it, we've got a drop over recent time. Water's down, basically. They've got a big pump running back there, which you might be able to see sort of vaguely over my shoulder there, that is moving water up from the river because this basin here is slightly drained, and that means that it's quite shallow in places. So when we went over to try the finger moorings, we ground it up on the ground. And then as we pulled over, and I thought I'd move over to that side to moor up, something got around my prop over here, so we were just like,
stopped here.
We're just stopping here.
And hopefully it won't be too bad, but it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess it took probably another hour to get from the Armoury to here, and we were really ready to stop at the Armoury. Well, I was anyway.
Yeah.
Because
It's a shame, really. The Armoury was the Armoury very much is something that I've wanted to see for a while. I know nothing about Leeds. Leeds is one of these cities that I'm not sure why, but it's one of the cities that we've just never heard of in America. It's like the idea that, I've heard of the Leeds and Liverpool Canal. I know of Liverpool, but I assume Leeds is like someplace at the end of it. I don't know what a Leeds is. I thought it was going to be smaller than York. I thought it was, just one of those things where it's like, I assume it's like for a British person going over the States, there's entire cities you may never have heard
like
of.
Texarkana.
Right, Texarkana. There's a good example.
I've been there now.
Yeah, or, anyway, numerous places where it's just like, it somehow passed you by. And Leeds is one of those places that has passed me by. But people have been recommending the Armouries, and the Armouries sound really cool. And when we pulled up and we're actually below it, rising up in the rock, and you can see this circular staircase that's all lined with pikes and swords and pieces of armor, and it's like, hey, that looks like a lot of fun. It looks like something I really want to see, and it's shut.
So when we come back to York, we'll also have to come back to Leeds.
Yeah.
But we're going to have a little explore around.
Yeah, I'm going to take a walk, going to take a look around. But yeah, I think this, along with York, we are definitely going to have to come up here and visit Leeds more properly. Probably not on a boat once everything reopens, because this year there are a large number of museums, all of which sound interesting. There's stuff to see, there's stuff to do, except for none of it's on.
Yeah.
So, things that have reopened include pubs and shops and stuff, which is, good fun if I was interested in either drinking or shopping. But the sort of cultural venues are still all closed. And I understand that. It makes sense. It's just unfortunate timing. But
Hang on.
It's more than unfortunate timing. It's a pandemic.
On the plus side, we're now on the Leeds and Liverpool Canal, so we wouldn't have been if we hadn't.
Yeah, that lock right there marks the end. This is the terminal end of the Leeds and Liverpool Canal.
Oh yeah, because we're facing back the wrong way now because the wind and...
Yeah, it's kind of, the wind was not helpful. I'm going to have a hard time getting spun around tomorrow as well. It's like, back up and I don't know what I'm
maybe tie on and I don't know.
Yeah, because there's that cruiser sitting in exactly the right position for my nose to just cleave right through them if I get swung by the wind. So good fun. And I'm going to have to go down the weed hatch tomorrow.
Good fun.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. Give us a thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe to Minimalist Maximal Velocity to see some of our early time lapses. And click that bell if you want to get notifications. George, what the hell are you doing over there? What do you got button here? George, come here. Come here.
Georgie!
Come here. Come here. Right there. Right there. Yeah, come on.
Just
No.
look.
Okay, fine. Sit there and look regal. Morning.
Start again.
Morning.
Morning.
I'm not supposed to mention boomerangs. Or volleyballs. Or blue. Or... Man, I'm blanking. Ooh, blanking. There's one. Morning. My whole deal is to get her to laugh. Like, that's the only reason I'm actually here.
Yeah, but laugh after happiness or laugh out of utter.
Frustration.
Yeah.
This is a laugh, right?
Actually,
I go for the laughter, including like the fall in the water type thing.
no, that was just for me, was it?
You know, if or the concussions. It's like, clearly it's to get you to laugh. I got a piece of metal in my leg. Haha! That sort of thing. Anyway. Derp. Derp-a-derp. Derp-a-derp-derp. Derp.
Let's be quick, yeah.
Let's be quick, yeah. Yeah, let's be quick, yeah. And have a little walk and hopefully find some takeaway food that we like. Or we'll come back and have more crackers and blue cheese.
Yeah, it's sitting in front of us. I'm like, so I keep looking down, I really want to eat it.
And George will keep scratching your leg until you give him a cracker.
He's already had one.
Oh, well, that explains why I haven't had any.